Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB game scheduled for Sunday, September 21st, 2025. Now, if you like this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Put those baseball picks in the comment section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, the games I love the most, including my daily rundown best bet in Major League Baseball, as well as my NFL Play of the Week, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab at pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Sunday, Major League Baseball. First up, it's the Yankees and the Orioles. We've got Cam Schlittler and Kyle Bradish as the starters. Schlittler's pitched pretty well so far at the Major League level, 3.41 ERA, but a 4.18 expected ERA. We did see him struggle in his last game against the Twins, 4 earned runs and 5 walks in that one. And with how well Kyle Bradish has pitched to start the season and his good numbers against his current Yankees lineup, for me, even though the Orioles have had a disappointing season and the Yankees, of course, are still playing for seeding, for me, it's tough to go against the Orioles in this spot. I mean, I think Bradish has proven 22 innings, 30 strikeouts. The injury, returning from the injury, has not really been a concern. And while you could point to the fact that he's had a pretty weak strength of schedule his last couple of games against the White Sox and the Pirates, I still have really been impressed with Bradish to start his year, and I think he pitches well enough for the Orioles to grab a win. I'm going to go Baltimore on the money line in this one. Next up, we've got the Athletics and the Pirates. We've got Mike Burrows and Jeffrey Springs as the starters. I've mentioned I think Mike Burrows is an underrated option in his Pirates rotation, but last couple of games, he's pitching less and less basically as a starter. He had 4 1/3 last start with 6 strikeouts, but 3 earned runs and 5 base hits, given up to the Nationals of all teams, and it was a loss 4-3. Up against a much tougher lineup here, and Jeffrey Springs, a solid starting pitching option. I think the Pirates are in trouble in this one. Springs has been inconsistent, but coming off a really good outing, the Pirates have not been good against lefties in 2020, and really overall this season, but certainly in the month of September. And Springs got a sub-4 ERA on the road. He's been a lot better on the road this season. So give me the Athletics in this one on the money line. Next up, it's the Braves and the Tigers. We got Spencer Strider and Casey Mize as the starters. I'm not looking to back the Tigers very often in the month of September with how poorly they've played overall. I mean, Spencer Strider, obviously not a great year for him, injuries, underperformances, but his last 4 games, 3 runs or fewer in all those starts. His strikeout numbers are starting to pick it up again, 14 Ks his last 13 innings. His last game, one of his best of the season, 7 innings, 1 run, 6 strikeouts against a struggling Tigers offense. Casey Mize has given up a lot of sharp contact, a lot of extra base hits and home runs in the second half of the year. He gave up 3 earned runs, 7 base hits, and a homer his last game against the Guardians in a loss. I'm rolling with the Braves in this one on the money line on the road. Next up, the Chicago Cubs and the Cincinnati Reds. We've got Andrew Abbott and Jameson Taillon as the starters. The Cubs have been solid against lefties in the month of September, above league average in OPS and well above league average in isolated power. They're in the top 5 in the league, and I think that Andrew Abbott had a great start to the year. Had its ERA sub-2 for the longest time, then sub-2.5. Now it's at 2.8. We've seen him last game, 4 2/3, 8 base hits, 3 earned runs. Strikeout numbers are still there, but a lot of base runners, and he's given up at least 1 home run in 4 of his last 5 games, 18 home runs overall this season. I think the Cubs can get to him for a few runs early, and I think Taillon has been excellent since returning to the Major League level. I got to roll with the Cubs in this one on the money line. Next up, we've got the Nationals and the Mets. We've got Jake Irvin and Clay Holmes as the starters. We've talked about the concerns with the stamina for Clay Holmes' first year as a starting pitcher, 155 innings. It's a lot for a starting or a pitcher that's been a closer throughout his career. But I like the idea that the Mets went with last game. Holmes goes 4 innings. They bring in Manaea to get the final 5 innings of that game. Manaea's had last year great success. This season, not so much. He struggled a lot of times early in his starts, and I think it's a great idea to give him the kind of that opener situation where Holmes, it's going to go more than a standard opener. He's going to go 3-4 innings, but then Manaea can enter the game and try to get the rest, if not 3-4 innings, and hand it over to Diaz or somebody a high leverage spot in the Mets bullpen. I think it's a great option for the Mets in the regular season and the postseason if they decide to go with it. And Jake Irvin has been struggling mightily in the month of September, in the second half of the season. Bad numbers on paper, bad underlying numbers. I got to roll with the Mets in this one on the run line. You just look at the last 3 games for the Nationals with Irvin as a starter, 6-3, 11-5, and 8-3. Blowout final scores. I got to roll with the Mets here laying the 1.5 runs. Next up, the Cleveland Guardians and the Minnesota Twins. We got Joey Cantillo and Simeon Woods-Richardson as the starters. Woods-Richardson, one of his best starts of his career in his last game against the Yankees. 6 innings, 11 strikeouts, no earned runs. He's really missing a ton of bats recently, but this is a tough matchup. This is a Guardians team that over the last couple of years, does a great job at limiting strikeouts, especially along the way of their winning ways in September, where they've been one of the best teams in baseball. And Joey Cantillo, I think, is a really underrated arm in this rotation. He's also got good strikeout stuff. I actually, we saw him pitch against these Twins earlier in the season. He struggled in the first inning, gave up 4 earned runs, but was excellent the rest of the way. And even those 4 runs, gave up a lot of soft contact base hits that were, bloop singles that found the outfield. But overall, I was really impressed with Cantillo in that start. And I've watched Woods-Richardson take on this Guardians lineup before. They seem to have a good number on him, even though the numbers on paper in terms of the xWOBA, the expected batting average, aren't the greatest. The Guardians do put really good at-bats up against Simeon Woods-Richardson. So I actually like the Guardians in this one. Playing great baseball, great bullpen. Give me Cleveland in this one on the money line. Next up, we've got the Padres and the White Sox. We got Michael King and Sean Burke as the starters. In 2024, it was a great season for Michael King. His first season as a Padre, 173 innings, sub-3 ERA, but injuries have really derailed 2025 for King. And, he still has okay numbers on paper, 3.84 ERA, in obviously a lot smaller sample size, 65 2/3, but he has struggled recently. In the last game against the Mets, 3 innings, 8 earned runs, 4 home runs. The Padres are really hoping that King can get back to that 2024 form ahead of the postseason, but right now, it's tough to back him, especially at this price. And, Sean Burke, we mentioned at the beginning of the season, not a lot of missed bats. The control was an issue. The control is still a problem right now, but he is earning some more strikeouts, and he's just under a strikeout per inning now on the season. So, for me, I think that Burke is a underrated starting pitching option, and I think the White Sox are, the play in this one. I'm going to take the White Sox on the money line at home. Next up, the Blue Jays and the Royals. We got Michael Wacha for Kansas City, but still waiting for a starter right now for Toronto. Now, Wacha last game, 7 runs in just 2 2/3. He was pitching really well in September and the second half of the season, but struggled mightily in that one. The Royals have lost 3 of his last 4 games, and the Blue Jays are a really tough lineup for right-handed pitching. I'm going to lean towards Toronto in this one right now on the money line. Next up, we've got the Brewers and the Cardinals. We've got Freddie Peralta and Matthew Liberatore as the starters. In the month of September, the Brewers not great numbers against left-handed pitching. They're ranked 20th in team OPS. They're near the bottom in isolated power. They do have a low strikeout rate and a high walk rate to go with it, but Matthew Liberatore's got great numbers against his current Brewers lineup. A low strikeout rate, but a 217 expected batting average, 245 xWOBA. I think he pitches well in this one. I think Freddie Peralta also has a strong outing. He has been one of the best pitchers in the second half of the season in all of Major League Baseball. Give me the under in Brewers Cardinals. Next up, the Marlins and the Rangers. We've got Yuri Perez and Jacob Latz as the starters. Another under I like in this one. Yuri Perez, I did not like his matchup at Coors Field against the Rockies, but he pitched really well in that game. It was 5 innings of shutout baseball, 6 strikeouts, no walks, just 1 base hit given up. Now, I think it's fair to say I wouldn't expect Perez to go more than 5 innings in this one, and they have to sweat at that Marlins bullpen, but there's been so many unders at Globe Life Field. The Rangers' offense has been so inconsistent. I think that the Marlins bullpen will be good enough here, and I think that Latz and Texas pitching staff, it's a solid bullpen. Latz has been a good option as a opener/starter. Marlins have not been doing anything against left-handed pitching for the most part in 2025, so I'm going to roll with the under in Rangers-Marlins. Next up, it's the Phillies and the Diamondbacks. We've got Ranger Suarez and Eduardo Rodriguez as the starters. These are 2 solid options. I mean, Rodriguez did struggle in his last game, but the Diamondbacks have won his last 4 starts. He's really been a key reason why Arizona's been able to make up some ground. Obviously, not looking great in terms of the wild card race, but the fact that they were sellers at the deadline and still have a chance at the wild card spot is pretty crazy, and Rodriguez is a part of that. And Suarez, of course, a good option for Philadelphia, but I actually like the over in this game. These are 2 lineups that have hit lefties very well in the month of September. The Diamondbacks' power numbers against lefties are excellent. Suarez, throughout the years, he's got pretty good numbers in Arizona and against the Diamondbacks, but he's also had some bad outings at Chase Field. It's not always an easy place to pitch as a lefty. I think we see both offenses show up in this game, and Arizona's bullpen, of course, one of the weaker ones in the league. So give me the over in Phillies Diamondbacks. Next up, the Giants and the Dodgers. No official starter right now for San Francisco. We should see Emmett Sheehan going for the Dodgers. Sheehan's been pitching really well down the stretch. He's given up 2 runs or fewer in 4 straight games. A couple of those were some weak matchups. The Reds, Pirates, Rockies not at Coors Field. But the last game was against the Phillies. 5 2/3, 1 base hit, 1 earned run, 7 strikeouts. Now the Dodgers ended up losing that game in extra innings, but really sharp outing. It's a really tough lineup. I think Sheehan pitches well against the Giants here. I'm going to lean towards the Dodgers right now in the run line. We'll see who that official starter is for San Francisco. Probably lean towards the under as well. Next up, we've got the Mariners and the Astros. We got Logan Gilbert and Jason Alexander as the starters. Alexander's basically defying the odds right now as you look at the underlying numbers, the expected numbers, they are not great. And even his ERA above 4 on the season isn't perfect. But he has been a profit machine for the Astros in the second half of the season. They've only lost 1 of his starts in the second half of the year. That was back on July 24th against the Athletics. That was the last time the Astros lost a Jason Alexander start. Kind of a similar Quinn Priester situation going for the Astros. So while it's really tough to go against this win streak, you got Logan Gilbert on the other side, who I still think is the much better starting pitching option. The Mariners have won his last 2 games. He's in good form. I think the Mariners can get to Alexander and end this win streak. I think Seattle picks up the win on the road. Next up, it's the Red Sox and the Rays. We got Connor Early and Ryan Pepiot as the starters. The Rays have crushed lefties in September, so while Early has pitched really well in his first 2 games at the Major League level, those were both against the Athletics. Also a tough matchup. I like the fact that he had 18 strikeouts in those games, but I think this is by far the toughest matchup for Early to start his Major League career. And, Ryan Pepiot was not great in his last game against the Blue Jays, but overall, he's only had less than a handful of bad starts at Steinbrenner Field this year. You look at his home starts, not a lot of pitchers in this Rays rotation have pitched this well at Steinbrenner Field, especially over this type of sample size. Right around 90 innings of work with a 3.41 ERA, 217 opponent's batting average. The home runs have been there, of course. You're pitching at basically a minor league stadium, but overall, I've been impressed with Pepiot at home, and I think he bounces back in this one. The Rays pick up the win. Give me Tampa Bay in this one on the money line. And that's it. Those are the games for Sunday in baseball. Hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab at pickdawgz.com, and there is a link in the description. As always, Romanelli, good luck.